Hello and good morning. I'm Roland Gunter, homeopath in Royston on Vancouver Island, and I'm really happy that you come with me on a walk in the forest once again. And today I would like to introduce you to one of my favorite teachers, I would like to say. Here this is this old Douglas fir behind me with close to 30 feet circumference. It's one of the oldest trees I know in my closer area. It's about between 500 and 600 years old. So it's been here for a long time. Seen much come and go. And I like to spend time here with this old gentleman. Now, the Douglas fir is a tree with a very distinct character. It's not just a tree. It's really has its characters. It's straight, feels more masculine, not very cuddly like the bark. Here it's all covered with moss. That's nice to lean and to touch, yeah. But when you have the rough bark just of the Douglas fir, it's by far not so inviting to touch like a cedar, or especially an arbutus tree would be, like madrona tree. You hardly can pass by without touching them. And a Douglas fir, it's not so a cuddly energy. So when I first came here to the coast about 12-13 years ago, and I tried to get a little bit connected with the area, I realized, the first one you have to meet is the Douglas fir. And for quite a while, the Douglas fir did not open up to me. Now, when I tell you about talking with the tree or talking with nature, talking now today with the Douglas fir, yes, I had times when I could do that. But it's not that I just can come and talk with it and really hear what the Douglas fir says. But when I stay and when I slow down and when I spend a day or two totally with a tree, or when I do a ceremony like what I do, I call Shamir ceremonies, which is a technique based on the homeopathic preparation of a remedy. It's a ceremony that has the energetics of transformation that comes from alchemy, and I use, from my attitude towards that, a lot of the indigenous wisdom of my indigenous teachers. And so sometimes I say, yes, where homeopathy, alchemy and indigenous wisdom come together, this is where I'm home. And when I do that, very often I come to that place where I really can talk, usually at the second day, with a tree or with a rock or with an animal, and where I have such a deep connection that I can hear what they are saying. So when I realized the first one that you got to know here and got to be accepted from in order to have access to this land is the Douglas fir. And I realized then, when I spend time with the Douglas fir, how true that is. They have the character of a guardian that stands there, is not very friendly, just standing there looking at me, hardly looking at me. Who are you? What do you want here? Why do you come to this land? And then I spent time and I realized what seemed to be rigidity there, what struck me as rigidity, that was also something that gave safety. But I still was wondering, gosh, Douglas fir, you're so rigid, you're so stiff, so upright, so unbending, and like other trees, they go around something, but the Douglas fir grows straight up, and if you can't grow straight up, you better die then. Every cedar would grow in a curve or something, but Douglas fir not easily does that. So I asked the Douglas fir, we're living in a time of change. What can you help us and teach us? Because I realize you're very kind of old-fashioned. It's your community, this forest, is kind of conservative attitude. It's not changing too rapidly. Yeah, it takes hundreds of years. What can you help us in our times of change to deal with these scary times? And when I had asked this question, I saw in my inner eye a native village, and I heard the Douglas fir telling me, see this village, there's children laughing, there's women talking, there's a carver carving, there's other people singing, working, and all of that can only happen because the guardians, the warriors, take care of the safety of the village. What I can offer you is that when you're scared, you can come to me. I'm very reliable, and I can help you with your fear of change, because I want that the change comes from inside, and that the change will not be just yielding to the pressure that comes from the outside, because the change has to be a creative process that comes from inside of you, and that process needs safety, and this is what I can give you. I was deeply touched. It was the first time that I understood what it means that also in our society we have people that are very old-fashioned, rigid, but especially for children, to have an old-fashioned grandfather can be something really wonderful. It's reliable, it's predictable, it's safe. So it really holds this character of giving safety. And you also have this in native stories. Have you ever seen the mice in a cone of Douglas fir? I'm going to show you, maybe that works. There's one. How close can I come so you can see that? Can you see that? What you see here is a cone of a Douglas fir, and under this cone, under every scale of this cone, you see the hind quarter of a mouse. You see the tail and the two legs. And I tell you where that comes from. Once there was a big fire, and there was a mouse that was totally scared and said, oh gosh, where do I go to survive? And ran to the maple tree and asked, maple tree, can you help me? And the maple tree said, I don't know if I can, because I'm not sure if I can survive that fire. The mouse kept running to somebody else, to a poplar tree, and asked the poplar tree, and the poplar tree said, I don't think I can protect you, because I'm not sure if I can survive that fire. And the mouse went to the alder tree and got the same answer, and to other trees. And then the mouse ran to an old Douglas fir, and the Douglas fir listened to the mouse and said, well, I think I might be able to survive that fire. Just climb up to the crown of this tree, and then go out on the branches where you find the cones, and then hide under these scales of my cones. There you will be safe. And this is how it was. And the proof that this story is true, you still can see today on every cone of every Douglas fir. Watch it out. Yeah. So you see also in these old stories that it was the Douglas fir that gave safety. Yeah, I think that was mainly what I wanted to tell you today. So when we're scared, I often recommend people, and I myself do that. I go to a Douglas fir, I sit with a Douglas fir, I hold the cone of a Douglas fir, I talk with a Douglas fir, I spend time with a Douglas fir. And very often I can balance myself in doing so. So try it out. Try it out and let me know how it works for you. I would be really curious to listen to your stories. Now, at the end, let me say one more thing. We often say, yes, I love nature, I love to walk in the woods and go through the forest. But you know, love is a two-way street. And as long as we only walk through the forest and are only consuming the forest, we're not yet in a love relationship with nature or the forest. A love relationship requires that we do something, that we give something. Now these old trees are in trouble. Here on Vancouver Island, for example, there's about 5% of the original old growth forest left. And even these 5% are being logged constantly, and it's a constant battle. I really we would like to ask you to support nature conservancy organizations to stand up for our old growth forest. Go to Google the Sierra Club BC, for example, or the Ancient Forest Alliance, and you will see people that stand up for that. And please support them. These old trees, they need our support, because when they are logged, it will take a very, very long time until something like that can grow back. And this is robbery from our future and from the future of our children. We owe it to nature, even though that we can use nature, but we also need to respect and leave a certain amount of nature just in its own integrity, because they teach us something. This one probably only stands here because it's a slope and it's hard to get here, and I'm really happy about that. So that would be, I really would like to encourage you to do something. When I check out these websites, you know, I have to admit, it hurts so much, I'd rather move on. And then I have to slow myself down and say, no, Roland, you really got to watch this. You really got to look at this picture of a tree that's standing, and the next picture where there's a huge stump. Something that will not easily come back. And when we feel that pain, and when we can really feel the amount of loss, what that means, then I think we're able to do something and to step into a new relationship where we not only consume from nature, but where we also give something back. Thank you so much for listening, and join me soon another forest walk when we talk about the cedar. Thanks a lot and have a good day. Bye.